Can I just say it's an absolute pleasure to be in the People's Republic of Enfield. And I bring you greetings from Ed Miliband, who's sorry he couldn't be here today. I mean, I've been going around London as the Shadow Minister for London, launching various Labour groups, manifestos and their short campaign. And it's fantastic to see almost 50 people here this morning, 14 days before the Council and European elections. But can I begin by actually thanking Mark for the brilliant work Mark's been doing over the last few weeks.
West Ham
He's gloating. I mean, he's gloating. Let's not, I'm a long-suffering Liverpool fan. Let's not talk about football. You see, I remember, because I still live in a Tory council, what life was like for you and your neighbours and your friends before 2010. Because you've got recent experience between 2002 and 2010 of what a Conservative council means for the people of Enfield. And what Doug has managed to do, with the help of really good Labour councillors, is over the course of the last 4 years, not simply promised for 1 year to freeze council tax, but managed to pull it off for 4 years, with council tax being frozen. Some Conservative councils have managed to do that, but have cut services to do that. What Doug and the Labour Council here have managed to do is quite remarkable, Doug, reading some of the achievements over the last 4 years. I'm not going to go through some of the major achievements, but if you're somebody who's suffering a cost of living crisis, knowing that your council tax is frozen is a big source of comfort, and that's meant people are able to plan when it comes to budgeting. If you're somebody concerned like I am, where I live, I'm sure people are as well, you've got young children and you're worried about them able to cross the road to go to school or cross the road to come back or go to the shops, you want safe roads. And to secure 20 miles per hour roads is very, very important in residential areas. If you care about fly tipping, if you care about having clean streets, it's very important that some of the progress made around fly tipping has been achieved in the weekly collections as well. And this list of achievements, Doug, is more than remarkable because it was after you took over from a badly run council before. So you could have made excuses, but you've got on with doing a very important piece of work. Now, there's a famous American politician called Tip O'Neill, and he once said, all politics is local. All politics is local. And he was right. Because actually, how you serve your community as a ward councillor or as a council leader or as a fantastic member of parliament, it reflects how people decide to vote at a general election or a European election or a council election as well. And it's remarkable what you've managed to do over the last 4 years. But actually what we've got to recognise is we need to make sure we can make an offer that is optimistic about the future. So what's really good about the manifesto, Doug, is you're actually making a positive offer of what the people voting Labour can receive over the next 4 years as well. And in particular, I'm really passionate about housing. Now, we know in London now, the average cost of a property, so that includes Enfield, Wandsworth, Kensington, Chelsea, so the average cost of a property in London is £450,000. The average cost to rent a property in London is £1,200 a month. The average age of a first-time buyer is 38. It will take somebody 18 years to save a deposit to be able to purchase their own property. So housing is a big issue. And so what Doug is offering locally is the promise, not simply to build more housing, but to make sure it's affordable housing as well. But it's not simply a case of increasing supply. We need to improve the quality of those who are renting from the private rented sector. And so what Ed Miliband announced last week is very important. We will all have friends or family or constituents who are renting and have short 6 months tenancies because they've got private landlord and they've got children who go to a local school, and after 6 months the landlord comes to the tenant and says, you know what, I'm going to increase your rent, and the family's got a choice to pay the increase in the rent or move their children from school because they're going to move out of the property as a consequence. And what we've promised is the next Labour government will make sure there is certainty and stability in the private rented sector. So we'll have 3-year tenancies. The landlord and the tenant can negotiate the rent in advance, and during those 3 years the landlord can't increase the rent above a certain level. And it's important to provide that certainty to people who are renting. More than half of those renting now from private landlords are above 35. So So when I was younger, I rented, but you sort of knew you had no dependence, you could move around, it wasn't a problem. But now we've got people with children who are on rent, so we're going to provide that certainty and that stability so people can plan for the future. We also know there's a big issue in relation to some councils allowing developers to build what they like. And what's great here in Enfield, Doug, is you understand the need for social housing and affordable housing as well. So it's a really important thing we bear in mind. But the reality is, with the best one in the world, Doug could be doing a great job, but he works in an environment where you've got a Conservative-led government and a Conservative mayor in City Hall. So basically, Doug needs to make sure we have more Labour MPs returned in less than a year's time at the general election. You've got one of your three MPs left, who's a brilliant MP now, and I've found for he did a remarkable job since he was first elected in 1997. Really, really remarkable job in Edmonton, in this part of Enfield. But also we need to make sure that not only is Joan Ryan returned next year, but we've got Bambus as well here. So we can make the best council, the best councillor, but if there's a Tory government that's unsympathetic and a Tory mayor in City Hall, that's a problem for us. And so what's really important over the next 14 days, there's only 14 days left, is that the polls close at 10 p.m. In 2 weeks' time. All of us make sure we spend every moment we have doing all that we can to return the maximum number of Labour councillors. And this is why it's important, because 4 years ago, the last time there was a council election here, we had a general election on the same day. Now, a general election on the same day meant the turnout was about 68% here. Huge turnout, and that's one of the reasons. There were a number of reasons, including the excellent offer made by the Labour group then. One of the reasons why Labour did well in council elections 4 years ago. This time the turnout's going to be around London, around 35%. So it's a much lower turnout, and that's just a fact of life. In council and European elections, less people vote than in general elections, which means it's incumbent on us to make sure we meet local residents. You've already met record numbers over the last few weeks and months, which is why I pay tribute to Mark for his organisation. But we meet them between now and 10 p.m. When the polls close on May the 22nd, to remind them what a Labour council has done over the last 4 years, but also, more importantly, what a Labour council is promising to do over the next 4 years as well. Because I'll tell you what, just keeping hold of Enfield is going to be a challenge. So the pundits and the Tories are briefing, Labour need to win these many seats for them to show they're on the way to number 10. That's nonsense. Us simply maintaining the seats we've got is going to be an achievement. What's great about Enfield is you've got an offensive strategy. You're trying to win councillors in Chase, which is fantastic. You're trying to win councillors in Southgate Green, which is fantastic. And One Nation Labour means there are no parts, not just of the country, there are no parts of London, there are no parts of Enfield that are no-go areas for the Labour Party. And what's remarkable is that we can have 50 people here today, 2 weeks before, enthused and excited about the challenge of meeting as many voters as we can before 10 p.m. on May 22nd in 2 weeks' time. So thank you for all the work you've done so far. Thank you for all the work you're going to do over the next 2 weeks. And I tell you this, for those who sort of say, politics is not apathy, politicians are all the same, we all look the same, we all sound the same, we all do the same. Just speak to some of those people who've benefited from being rehoused. Some of those people who've benefited from having the flight been cleaned up from their streets. Some of those people who've benefited from their children walking to school and not being stressed about will they be run over because cars are racing past. Some of those people who've benefited from the certainty of knowing their council tax is frozen. And then speak to some of those people who are worried, where will I live when I'm old enough to work? Where will I live and will I be able to purchase a property when I'm able to save a deposit to purchase a property? Will the houses be built for us to be able to live there? And what's great about the manifesto is, A, it's a length I can read. Some of the manifestos I've launched are very long. But it's really good. This isn't every single thing you've achieved, clearly. It's got to be in a digestible format. What's really good about the manifesto is it's all politics to local. It's real life issues, the bread and butter issues that affect normal people. We all care, of course, about the macroeconomics. We all care, of course, about the big issues on an international stage. But this is stuff that really matters. And it really matters that local people who get the issues show that you're on the side of local residents. So, Doug, thank you for all that you've done over the last 4 years. Thank you for the remarkable team you've managed to assemble to stand for Labour on May the 22nd. And listen, good luck over the next 2 weeks. I hope to come back again before May the 22nd. There are a number of boroughs we're trying to target, just so colleagues know the bigger picture. So in London, of the 32 councils, currently 15 are run by the Labour Party, Enfield being one of them. And so, as I said, just keeping those 15 will be a major achievement because there'll be a lower turnout on May the 22nd. There are some boroughs we're trying to win from the party. So, for example, we're trying to win Redbridge from the Tories, we're trying to win Harrow, we're trying to win Croydon, and we're trying to win Merton. So there are a number of boroughs actually will be on the offensive and trying to win back from Tories, even with lower turnout. What's great about Enfield, though, is not only are you trying to keep the seats you have, but you're trying to make strides into other wards as well, which will bode well for Bamos and Joan for the general elections in less than 12 months' time. So thank you very much for all that you do. Are we going to win more seats? Are we going to work really hard next to win? Second, you're in charge as the next council leader. Can we do it?